Hello everybody, how are you? Oh, first of all, do you like my t-shirt? If you know what it is, you just, if you can write it down below, I would be grateful. It's just something new, I've just bought it. But anyway, I received 2 days ago this flask of seedlings of orchid, and I'd like to show you what I'm gonna do to let them grow, to sow them, not to sow them, to pot them and let them grow. They're already a little bit big. They're about 1.5 inch tall, and they are called Cattleya Labendziana, and it's a crossing between Cattleya violacea and Cattleya nobilior. They're both Cattleyas from Brazil, typical from Brazil. It's a natural hybrid. So we call it a primary natural hybrid, and it's from the central region of Brazil, the north region of Brazil. They grow in very good lighting and very hot and humid, and mainly humid during the monsoon season, which is about 6-7 months in a year, and then it may be very dry. With just the morning dew keeping them alive, which is very interesting. So they don't like loads of water in their roots for a long period. So 2 days ago I received the flask and I let it get to my ambient temperature here for about 24 hours, and after that I opened it to let the air get in, and so that would acclimatize with the atmosphere outside the flask, which is been vacuum closed. And what happens with these plants is that about 2 years ago they were pollinated by artificially, in this case because it's a lab. It's RFORQUIDEAS. I'll leave it below, the name of the website for you to just have a look if you wish. And so 2 years ago it was pollinated, and here we have the explanation of what is the crossing, which is Cattleya violacea crossed with Cattleya nobilior. So in this case, because violacea is the first name on the label, it means that violacea was the mother. So the technician, the scientist, he got the pollinia from the Cattleya nobilior and inseminated Cattleya violacea. If you haven't seen that happen, you let me know. I have tried a few times with good success here, not always, because sometimes the mother plant does not accept the pollination. So if you haven't seen that happen, just let me know, and I'll see when I can do a video explaining that. But this is the little seedling. So 2 years ago, and for about 1 year, in the case of this kind of orchids, 10 months to 12 months, they have a capsule. Capsule is the fruit of the orchid, and it takes all that time for that capsule to mature. And sometimes you can get it opens and you have to rush and try to seal it, because in this kind of treatment you cannot have any fungi inside. So the scientist or the technician, he gets, and in a lab with mask and gloves, and usually they have a cabin which has got an exhaust, so it expels out the air from inside that situation. He gets the capsule, puts inside the cabin, sprays with some disinfectant, opens it, and places the seeds in a few jars like this, with this black stuff here, with the culture medium, which is the substance which has all the nutrients and the water that the little seeds need to develop themselves. And so they stay there for about 6 months, and after 6 months, when they're tiny plantlets, they just get too big, too much for the flask. They have to separate them into other flasks, otherwise the plants will grow too much and it ends up just rotten. So we have 1 year for the capsule to mature, then you have 6 months for the seeds to sprout, and then you separate them from the first jar to the second jar. All of this has to be extremely hygienic, and after 6 months, usually for Cattleyas, they are ready to leave the flasks. That's what we're going to do today. And what do I have here? I have the flask. It smells good, and I'm just going to use tap water. My tap water doesn't have any problems with salinity or any products that are bad for the plants, so I can use it. It has also been sitting in a water tank inside the residence, so anything that is bad for the plants may have settled in the water tank. And here we have the plants, the plantlets. Can you see? There should be about 20 to 25. Probably there's more here. They count them to put in a flask. In the second phase of the flask, they have to count them, otherwise they get too big and it doesn't fit inside the flask. And now the substance needs to be discarded, otherwise they can they can get some fungi and damage the plant. So let me just quickly wash this. Get rid of the black substance, and here I'm shaking the sieve. I have the plants which are more to the outside world. They've just been born, so you have to be very careful and loving to your little seedlings. Let's put them here, and basically what I'm doing is just that I'm separating the plants. Sometimes the roots are so big that you cannot separate them very easily and you end up damaging. Let me just show you some of them. Here they are. And I'm going to leave them here until tomorrow. Meanwhile, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do here. I have some water. It's just tap water in my case. The rooting agent, the fertilizer, and I'm going to drop just very little, as little as possible. I think it was about 5 or 6 droplets, because it's just something to make sure that they have some food as soon as they come out of the flask, as soon as they are born. Right? This is my sphagnum. It's a local no. It's a sphagnum from the state and has got legal permission to be collected, because in Brazil sometimes these things are very complicated and you can get into trouble. And this is a pink sphagnum. It's not a sphagnum used for decoration of vases. There's another kind of sphagnum here that we use, which is just for decoration, and they're not very lasting. So I don't recommend that at all. And just to show you, I have some styrofoam from packaging of some TV or refrigerator or whatever I found on the street. And again, my carbonized rice husks. The carbonized rice husks, it's not really a scientific thing, but many of our state growers, they have been using that and they find it excellent for various reasons. One is fungicide. In other words, it doesn't grow, fungi doesn't grow there. Second, it airs the sphagnum. I think I have told here already that when sphagnum dries, it's a clump, it gets very tight. It may kill the roots. So in this case, we mix them so that it gives some aeration, and it's also it helps with rooting the plants. So tomorrow I'm gonna carry on with the video to show you what I'm gonna do, okay? But the video is gonna follow this one immediately. Thank you.